So namaste everyone. Again to this another journey of Yoga Chikitsa. Earlier we had a beautiful journey of yoga and cultural appreciation in which many of you participated, and those who still want to join that, they can again join us in this new journey. So I welcome you all in this beautiful journey of Yoga Chikitsa, Secrets of Yoga Therapy. Let us start with the invocation, requesting all to join together. ॐ तत्परम्पर्याय विद्महे ज्ञानलिङ्गेश्वराय धीमहि तन्नो गुरुः प्रचोदयाते ॐ ओम योग महर्षि डॉक्टर स्वामी गीतानंद गिरी गुरु महाराज की जय। ओम पुदवई कलमा मणि पुदवई शक्ति योगाचार्यणी अम्मा जी मीनाक्षी देवी भवनानी गुरु माता की जय। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। So again, I welcome you all. And on this auspicious day, today is September 13th, and today is the birthday of our beloved Ammaji. So it's very auspicious, and it's a wonderful day to start with such a wonderful journey with you all. And before going deep into this session, I would like to just give a brief that you must have seen that this is Secrets of Yoga Therapy 2.0. So this is the earlier we started like 4 years back, that Secrets of Yoga Therapy under the Gitananda Yoga tradition only, that how the Yoga Chikitsa is very important in present scenario and in terms of therapy. But along with that, there is a need of integration with the modern therapy, modern medicine, and all those adjunct therapy that we are seeing today. So there is a need of integrated therapy, and we had a brief understanding of those uh, conditions, those awareness, and we had that during our Secrets of Yoga Therapy 1. Now in this journey, we'll have much detail and much diverse and much introspection into the various other aspects of Yoga Chikitsa or Yoga therapy, where we're going to understand a very detailed concepts of yoga therapy and also very basic concepts of the yoga therapy, where we are missing somehow in this journey. Because when we think about Yoga Chikitsa or yoga therapy, we mostly think of any particular disease or any ailment, symptoms like that. But it is whole a journey where the actual yoga, the definition we all know, the yoga is samadhi, yoga shit vritti nirodha, samatvam yog ujjate. The balance, equanimity is all it says. So we are going to go into the holistic approach. And today with us, we have our dear Dr. Ananda sir, who is going to guide us in this wonderful journey. And to give a brief introduction of Dr. Ananda sir, I would like to invite Dheeya ji to give a brief introduction. Over to you, Dheeya ji.
Thank you, Yogacharya Dr. ji. Namaste. Today, we are fortunate to have with us Yogacharya Dr. Ananda Balayogi Bhavanani ji, who is an eminent yoga therapist, researcher, educator, and global ambassador of the Rishiculture Ashtanga Yoga tradition, founded by Yoga Maharishi Dr. Swami Geetananda Giri Guru Maharaj. Dr. Ananda connects ancient tradition with modern science and as both a medical doctor and a certified yoga therapist, the first Indian to earn international recognition from the IAYT. He currently serves as director and professor of yoga therapy at the Institute of Salutogenesis and Complementary Medicine at Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth, where he leads pioneering research in yoga therapy and integrative health. With over 263 peer-reviewed research papers, 29 books, and decades of clinical experience reaching more than 70,000 patients, Dr. Anandaji has established himself as a thought leader in Yoga Chikitsa. a recipient of multiple awards, including the Government of Puducherry's Lifetime Achievement Award in yoga. He is also a guiding force in academic, national, and international yoga initiatives with organizations such as the WHO, Ministry of Ayush, and the Indian Yoga Association. Trained from childhood in the Gurukula system under his father and mother, the legendary yoga exponents Yoga Maharishi Dr. Swami Geetananda Giri and Yogacharini Meenakshi Devi Bhavanani, our Dr. Ananda embodies the living tradition of Rishiculture Ashtanga Yoga. So today he will be speaking on foundations of Yoga Chikitsa in Rishiculture Ashtanga Yoga, illuminating how this traditional system provides timeless therapeutic insights for contemporary health and well-being. Our webinar session will be followed by a question and answer segment. So please feel free to submit any questions in the chat as we proceed. Now let's warmly welcome Yogacharya Dr. Ananda Balayogi Bhavanani ji to begin the session. Sir.
Thank you so much, Dheeya, for that very lucid introduction. You have a very beautiful way of announcing and introducing, and it makes the speaker feel valued, loved, and respected. So I think that's a good combination to have. And thank you, Nilachal, for putting this together. In another series where many of our eminent members of the Rishiculture Geetananda family are going to be sharing the experiences, the thoughts, and through that, enhancing our perspective of what yoga and yoga chikitsa is. I have spoken a lot about yoga and yoga chikitsa, so it's always difficult to find something new. But then I realize that most often people don't listen to you at all. So, most probably they have not heard what you have said the last time. So even if you say the same thing, it may seem new to people. And there's nothing wrong in often doing that. While saying that, of course, each time we look at a concept, we develop a new place from where we come, a drishti kona. And I think what I would like to introduce today is, with regard to yoga chikitsa, what is the drishti kona with which we can perceive it? Drishti implies perspective. Kona means the angle or that point from which we are having that perspective. So if you think of the globe and the 8 directions, we say there are 8 directions. Of course, some say Navasandhi. So we have Ashtadik, the 8 directions, each having a protector, Ashtadik Palaka. We have Navasandhi, which is at the center. You have the Brahmasthana and the 8 directions around. And then there's also the concept of Dasha Disha, which means 10 directions, which is 8 directions and up and down. Now, if you, of course, put up and down and center, you'll end up with Eka Dasha Disha. So there's so many perspectives. Which corner are you perceiving Yoga Chikitsa from? What is your point where you are standing in order to take that perspective? This is very important. So it is not about writing more books. It's not about writing more papers. It is not about attending more CMEs or CYEs or cycle programs or whatever we may run. It is about you getting established in a perspective from where you are at this point of time, and then keep on developing yourself so that you start having multiple points of perspective, because the more multiple points of perspective you develop, the more wholesome and holistic your perspective will become. So I always suggest the practice of Brahma Mudra as a good practice to develop this. Because in Brahma Mudra, we are always looking at our central perspective, where we are. Our sthiti, which is our stable position, where we are at this point of time. So this is my sthiti, to look in this direction. When I do Brahma Mudra, I turn to the right and I develop a new perspective of the world to my right. I turn to the left, I develop a new perspective of the world to my left. I turn up, I develop the perspective of the world above me. And when I go down, the world below me. So we signify, when I say right, it is 180 degrees to the right. When I say left, the 100 degrees to the left. When I say up, 100 degrees up. When I say down, 180 degrees down. So 360 by 360. That is the perspective we want to develop with Brahma Mudra. And each time you go away from your sthiti, have a new perspective, but then you come back to your own sthiti. Your own sthiti doesn't change. But now in your sthiti, you embody the right 180, the left 180, the up, urdhva 180, and adho 180. Dakshina, Vama, Urdhva, Adho. All the 180, 180, 180, 180 have now become your 360 into 360, but you are still in your sthiti. And then your sthiti becomes your sukha-sthanam. Because if we are not able to look at the world from different perspectives, we will be as bad or as limited, rather. Bad is not a good word. That is very odd there. Bad is not a good word. That's a nice way to phrase that. We'll become limited. Let me use the term limited, like the horse who has blinkers. The reason they put the blinkers on the horse is so that the horse will focus on the goal and not get distracted. But with human beings, we should be able to focus on the goal and not get distracted without blinkers. That is the power of choice. So with this brief introduction, I'm going to start sharing a few of my thoughts that my dear Nilachal has put together for me, but I have gone through and embellished. I hope the screen is full screen by now. And first of all, I would like to start off by reminding us that we are not the end all be all. We are not the end all be all. There is the tradition that is holding us up, as Google likes to put it, standing on the shoulders of giants. And these are the giants, at least to my limited understanding, on whose shoulders I'm standing. And there are many, many more who are not in that image also. The parampara, the perennial source of wisdom. And so today we are looking at the foundations of Yoga Chikitsa. And I would like to start off, I hope my slides are changing. Yeah. Otherwise, I get to the end of my presentation and all you have seen is my photo. And that won't be so good. What is Yoga Chikitsa? And again, as many of you will already know, I make a clear-cut distinction between yogopathy and yoga therapy. For me, it is imperative that we understand there's a distinction, and I'm going to share with you a slide later on today where I've tried to earmark this distinction very clearly. So first of all, Yoga Chikitsa, from the Rishiculture Geetananda point of view, is as old as yoga itself and is the first therapy of mind, body, spirit. Now, there are many people who claim yoga is not therapy. In fact, recently I was honored to host a Manthan session with Prashant Iyengarji, where he was very, he virtually condemned the fact that yoga is being used as therapy in one point of view. Because as he said, and I agree with him, yoga's goal is not therapy. But it is one of the side benefits of yoga. Okay? So the same thing, but he said it in a way that seemed like he was condemning it. He was not condemning it, and but sometimes, linguistic play can be there. When we realize that the human being was created And the moment the human being was created, Dvitiyam occurred. So what is Dvitiyam? Dvitiyam is duality, dichotomy. The moment the human being came into existence, the moment life began, duality started. Till life began, there was no duality, there was just one. See, this is a big challenge that happens. We as individuals are so used to just being one. And then we get married and suddenly have to think of another person in our life also. It's not too easy. And then just when the two have become one, you now have a child and it's a new entity. Same type of thing with the universe. The universe was one and suddenly life began. And the moment life began, there's a duality. The moment there's duality, ease has been lost and disease has manifested. So if that being the philosophical, spiritual aspect of manifestation, there needs to be a remedy. Because the universe will never give you a problem without a solution. I want that to sink in. The universe will never give you a problem without a solution. Now the problem is, you may need to look for that solution. Hide and seek, treasure hunt. But definitely the solution is someplace hidden. And I'll give you a clue. Most probably the solution is hidden inside you. We will go looking every place. Every nook and corner we look, we'll forget to look within ourselves. Mukho kahan dundare bande. We will look every place. We will not look within ourselves. So often if there's a problem, the solution lies within us, but we have to look for it. So the yoga as a chikitsa, as a therapy, can be understood as the very first methodology that came into being along with the problem statement that if there's going to be duality, how to move back from duality to oneness, well, yoga has come into play. So if you look at it from that point of view, yoga therapy is as old as yoga, and yoga is as old as life. This is one point. Again, I would like to remind us of Swamiji's perspective that it is the human being's first unitive understanding of what is distress. Distress is dukkha. So what is dukkha? And how the dukkha can be alleviated? Dukkha nivarana or dukkha nivrittihi. Dukkha nivritti, dukkha nivarana is the goal of yoga and yoga chikitsa as a result of that. It can be considered the oldest holistic therapy, and I'm going to stress on this holism again and again because even artificial intelligence has come to know that Dr. Ananda stresses on holism. So I asked my chat GPT and it keeps on telling me that I stress on holism, so maybe I do. And again, the goal, the aim of Yoga Chikitsa is not just a cure, but it is conscious evolution. So I agree with Prashantji, but not the way he put it, but I agree with the concept. Yoga is actually not for therapy. Yoga is for Kaivalya. Or rather, to sound poetic, yoga is for yoga. Nothing less, nothing more. Yoga is for yoga. Along the way, you get all the popcorn and chips, and that is all the side benefits you get. We can also understand Yoga Chikitsa as a bridge where ancient holistic wisdom and modern scientific understanding meet for the welfare of humanity. More and more, I believe I'm a humanist for sure. And I believe that my perspective of philosophy, psychology, therapy, and life itself is humanism. And I think if we don't have that, we are not living up to our potential. Because the goal of life is not just to have more money, more fans, more awards, more degrees. That's not the goal of life. The goal of life is to be the best version of yourself that you can be in this incarnation. Anything less than that, you're being short-charged. When we look at the vision of health, it is a whole person-centric approach. So it is not just, are your kidneys healthy? Are your lungs healthy? It is, are you as a whole person healthy? And again, it is not the disease that you're looking at, but it is the person who has the disease. And I can never tire of quoting the father of modern medicine, William Osler, who said the good physician treats the disease, the great physician treats the person who has the disease. And this is the fundamental basis of all Indian Chikitsa Krama. All our methodologies of Chikitsa in India were based on the person and not the diagnosis of disease. So health is a state of sukha. And Ammaji, whose birthday we are celebrating today, has often used the term sukha-sthanam. It is a point inside yourself where you are at ease. A sense of ease in all your dimensions. The human being is a multidimensional being. Can all those dimensions have a sense of ease? That is what you're looking for. Illness is a disharmony, where from the Adi to the Vyadi, and I'm not going to talk about that today at all. But just remind you of that concept. The psychosomatic implications of health and disease. And all I will remind you is that in Indian culture, psyche goes all the way up to the end of Prakriti. Not just Manomaya Kosha, all the way up to the Prakriti. The junction between Prakriti and Purusha is the point of psyche in Indian context. So when we say psychosomatic, it is not just your thoughts and emotions. It is how you are connected to the causal consciousness of the universe itself. And if you look at the Kosha model, how is your Anandamaya Kosha connected to the universe? That is the psyche when we talk about it from a yogic perspective. All Indian knowledge system, Bharatiya Jnana Sampradaya, or Bharatiya Jnana Parampara, as is being postulated these days. What is the goal of yoga, or what is the manifestation of yoga? Samatva. This samatvam is often just, defined as mental equilibrium. It's not just mental equilibrium. Have you found balance wherever you are? You are in a body. Are you at ease with that body? You have a mind. Are you at ease with that mind? You have relationships. Are you at ease with those relationships? Wherever you are you at ease? Water finds its level wherever it is. And this is why the masons were plastering the ceiling of our hall here. They use a water level. And they use the water level because if the water level is used, your building will always be shaped properly. Because the water will always find its balance. You put it like this, it will find its balance. You put it like this, it will find its balance. You turn it upside down, it will find its balance. Water will always find its balance, samatva. And don't forget, we are about 75% water. This planet is about 75% water. Why cannot we find the balance? So easy that we get thrown off balance. That is where swa adhisthana, to be established in the swa, is the second of the chakras, which is related to the water element. Are you adhisthana? Adhisthana means to be set in a very stable way. Like pratishtha, the same. Adhisthana and pratishtha are very similar. Ahimsa pratishtayam, satya pratishtayam, brahmacharya sthaire. You are set, you are set. Adhisthana is like that. Swa adhisthana, where are you set in equanimity, in balance? Water element, that's why you have balance. Constantly, life is giving you opportunities to find your balance. Now, if you're balanced, life won't be so much fun. So life says, you have found balance? Let me give you a new challenge. Enjoy. And next few months, next few years, next few lifetimes, enjoy this challenge. Come back when you're balanced. You're balanced? Go out. Like people play with the dog, throw the ball, the dog brings the ball back. Do they stop? They throw it again, the dog goes to get the ball and comes back. Life is doing the same thing with us. You have found balance? Nice. Here, go find it again. Go find it again. Go find it. And each time it usually goes a bit further away. It goes further away. That is what life is doing. It's training us. If that is health, balance, equanimity, harmony, disease. Where does disease come from? Patanjali is very clear. Avidya. Ignorance of the true nature. And that is where the Pancha Klesha model is the most important model when we talk about disease in Yoga Chikitsa. If we don't talk of the Pancha Kosha model, I think we are doing a disservice to Yoga Chikitsa. And that is a Yoga Chikitsa is not just about, finding a couple of asanas for each disease. No, please, don't do that nonsense. Let ignorant people do it. Please don't do it. Please don't do it. You have to understand the Pancha Kleshas. As long as the Pancha Kleshas are active, you are going to be stuck in samsara, going in circle, 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 circle. And this is where, due to that avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, and abhinivesha comes in. That is all nice, philosophical, right? Practically, lifestyle imbalances. You fill yourself with junk, you become a junkyard. You eat junk food, you become junk. You think junk, you become junk. You relate junk, you become junk. You identify with junk, you become junk. Junk, 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 junk becomes your java. Om jankaha. And that is what you have become. Constant junk, junk, junk. And that is why Swamiji made it very clear. If you want to be happy, do happy things. If you want to be healthy, do healthy things. Because if you do unhappy things, you will be unhappy. I'm very sorry, my dear children, but you will be unhappy, is what Swamiji said. Swamiji, can't I do unhappy things and become happy by you blessing me with a peacock feather on my head? He will hit you with a hammer on the head, not a peacock feather. To drill some sense into that thick skull. You need a pneumatic drill to drill sense into some people these days. Lifestyle choices. You make horrible lifestyle choices, your lifestyle is going to impact your health and you're going to end up with what are called lifestyle diseases. So, what is the remedy for lifestyle diseases? Lifestyle modifications. And what is the best lifestyle modification? Yoga as a way of life. So clear. Dr. Ananda, it is too complicated. I want my samosa. I want my jalebi. I want my fast food. I want my junk food. I want my junk relationships. I want all the stress. I want to hold on to all my stress because if I don't have my stress, I'll fall apart. Welcome to Vyadi. Welcome to Vyadi. Dr. Ananda can make you laugh for a few moments, but then after that, you have to deal with it yourself, right? The stress. And why are we stressed? Because we let ourselves get stressed. I'm sorry, but that's actually the truth. When we are stressed, it is tough to understand that. You cannot get stressed if you don't allow the stressor to stress you. That is actually the power of choice. Your prefrontal cortex has the capacity to make an informed choice. Viktor Frankl called it the last and final freedom, to choose your attitude towards whatever happens to you. Abraham Maslow says the same thing. Every moment you have a choice either to move forward evolutionarily or move back in fear. Every moment, either you can move forward. Yes, when you move forward, it may be apprehension because you don't know what's going to happen. That is where Ishvara Pranidhana, acceptance, Shraddha, that conviction that yes, there is something bigger in the universe that I can trust in and I can move forward, even if it seems like I don't know what to do. Because it's easy to choose to go back into safety. But remember that safety is going back. And if you go back, you are hindering your own spiritual evolution, and there's no bigger crime. Once you know that you can make a choice, not to make a choice to move forward is a sin of commission. Because you are stopping your own spiritual growth. And if you do it to others, oh my God, that's even worse. When you put yourself in a position to stop another person's spiritual growth, you are doing an unforgivable crime. Not easy. And I think we humans today, to eat healthy is going to be the biggest challenge. The next one will be to breathe healthy, drink healthy. Because you're not going to get water except from multinational corporations in bottles. You're not going to get air except from multinational corporations in cylinders. Nowadays, you know what? All the internet is filled. Yeah, you can get one small tablet that has all the nutrition you need in a day. Protein, vitamin, and all. You just eat that tablet, one tablet a day. Nutrition, diet. Huh? Now, what is the philosophical basis of Yoga Chikitsa? The ancient yogic texts, they remind us very clearly that yoga is both the process and a goal. Yoga is the process also, and it is a goal also. Samatvam, which is harmonious balance of body, mind, spirit. And again, health is not to be taken separate, but is part of our journey towards divinity, which is our essence. From a subhuman state where there is a lack of prana, subhuman lack of prana to human prana, to superhuman manifestation of abundance of prana, into the divinity which is becoming merging with prana itself. It is a journey of prana. The lowest level is where you have the prana that is limited. That is the mineral forms, non-living aspects of the planet. They have the least prana because they are stuck in one place. And that is why to be stuck in one place physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, spiritually is to lack prana. Stagnation is disease. It is tamasika. And that is why all the yoga practices are enhancing our experience of prana, be it asana, pranayama, or dhyana. And all of them are helping us to connect to that cosmic prana through our own connectivity. We have a wire that connects to the cosmos. Our prana is connecting to the cosmic prana, and that is the nadi and chakra system. And all the techniques of yoga work on the nadis and chakras in order to help us connect to the cosmos. Because when you connect to the cosmos, you find equilibrium with the cosmos. When you find equilibrium with the cosmos, you are at ease. And when you are at ease, you are in that state of wholesome health, swastya. Swastya. The techniques are not designed to lower your blood pressure or blood sugar. Yogis were not interested in that. They were interested in you connecting to the cosmos, because if you connected to the cosmos, your blood pressure would be normal. If you connected to the cosmos, your blood sugar will be normal, because the moment you have connectivity, the moment you have connection, your stress levels go down. When you are not connected, when you are disconnected, your stress levels go up. Disconnection is stressful. We all saw that in COVID, where we were not able to be connected to others because of all these lockdowns and restrictions and social distancing. What a misnomer that was, social distancing. Don't talk to anybody, don't even look at anybody, you may get COVID. Kalavati used to tell me that people in Cardiff walking on others, each on different sides of the street, would not look at each other because they thought they'll get COVID if you look at the other person. Social distancing, we called it. No wonder that stress levels went up, and the more the stress, the lower the immunity. Why immunity goes down? Because of fear. Why you have fear? Because you have stress. Why you have stress? Because you and the other person are disconnected. If you are at ease, when people come to the ashram, they say, I feel at home. See, if you can go someplace and feel at home, your stress levels have been managed right away. But what to do when you are at your own home and you don't feel at home? When you're in your own body and you don't feel at ease in your own body. When you don't feel at ease with your own mind. When you don't feel at ease with yourself. That is the challenge. Dr. Ananda, can I do halasana to improve my thyroid? Yeah, go ahead and do it. Who cares? How do you connect to yourself? Halasana helps you connect to yourself, because when you do halasana, a natural constriction is occurring at your jugular notch, which is going to give a very healthy pressure to your thyroid. What is your thyroid? It is connected to the Vishuddha chakra. The Vishuddha chakra is the energy that takes you to the purity. The purity, which means thought, word, and deed start to flow together. When your thought, word, deed flow together, you have reduced stress. Because of reduction in stress, your head and your heart can work together. When your head and heart work together, your neuroendocrine system will work together. And because of that, you'll feel at ease. Because you feel at ease, psychoneuroimmunology, psychoneuroendocrinology will improve. And yes, your thyroid function will become more balanced. That is how it works. And this is why in Yoga Chikitsa, please don't give yoga therapy for somebody else's diagnosis. That is unethical. Now, going a bit further, in the Rishiculture Ashtanga Yoga Gitananda system, the approach is looking through a five-pronged approach of lifestyle. Achara, what are your activity? And this is where all our physical practices, the techniques of yoga, are very good achara in their own way. Vichara, a balanced lifestyle. Vihara, balanced lifestyle in tune with nature. Ahara, the nourishing diet. Vichara, the healthy thoughts. And through the contemplative activities, you can work on it. And always remember Vyavahara, the healthy relationships. The tools that are used, well, the Gitananda system looks about 375 plus asanas, 120 pranayamas, mudras, bandhas and all. We look at tools that include relaxation, mantra, yantra, bhavana. And of course, the most important, education for awareness and lifestyle change. Because if you don't educate the individual, you cannot bring about a change. So it is not about just saying these are the techniques. It's about educating them the value of the technique. educating them about their roles and responsibility as a health seeker. A health seeker has certain responsibilities. A health provider has also responsibilities. And this is why when you look at the therapeutic process, it's whole person-centric approach, as I have said. We use a 12-point diagnostic system. I'm not going to go into that because I've talked enough about it. But the Panchakosha model, the Three Sharira model, the Pancha Pranavayu model, the Nadi, the Chakra model, these are all important models. See, if you don't look at I'll take an example. If you don't think about the person's sankalpa, what is the capacity of that care seeker to set intention? Now, if you don't take that into consideration, nothing's going to work. And this is why setting intention is not just you setting it, finding out where they are in their capacity to set intention, which is what Sankalpa has to be evaluated. Is that person capable of setting an intention towards health? Can they follow up on that intention by bringing it into practice? These are very important. This is just one of the 12, along with the gunas, along with the doshas and all. Again, the therapy has to be individual-centered, not disease-centered. See, a story that comes back to me from Krishnamacharya Deshikacharya tradition. I have narrated it many times. I will continue to narrate it many times because there's a very big lesson in it. Deshikacharya is the son of Krishnamacharya, who is known as the father of modern yoga. Because Yogacharya Krishnamacharya, who came from Mysore, his students include Sri V.K. Iyengar, who developed the Iyengar system, Pattabhi Joyce, who developed the modern Ashtanga Vinyasa system, and Deshikacharya himself, who developed what is called the Viniyoga system. You then had many others like Indira Devi in South America, who was the first Western woman who took it in a very big way, and so many others. Deshikacharya was trained as an engineer and came back to yoga much later in life when he saw the impact his father was having on many people. He said, what is this amazing thing that my father is able to do? Similarly, Deshikacharya's son Kaustubh studied with his father. So one day, his father, Deshikacharya, was consulting with some patients, and Kaustubh was, as a young man, watching it. And he saw that two people came in. Both of them had obesity and both of them had depression. And what he found was his father consulted with both of them separately. In their tradition, it is all individual consultation, individual therapeutic session. It's totally individualized. And he saw that his father created a protocol. Deshikacharya started this beautiful methodology of line drawings. If you look in the Krishnamacharya tradition, Deshikacharya KYM tradition, they'll do a whole page of line drawings of what the student, that client should do. And he saw his father had given two different schedules, protocols for these two people who both were obese and both had depression. Now, the normal attitude is both are obese, both are depression, same protocol, put them in the same class. So he asked his father, why have you given a different protocol? What is the rationale behind it? And his father explained. The one person was obese because of obesity and self-image, negative self-image, and the negative social structure and the relationships because of obesity had developed depression. So in the first person, due to obesity, depression had come as the secondary factor. In the other person, they were depressed And because of depression, they went into overeating. Because of overeating, they became obese. And I keep on sharing this because it is a lesson we can never learn enough. Do not just look at the person when they come to you, what they are. Try to understand what lies behind what they are today. What has gone behind it? This is why the Heya has to have the Hetu. Heya is the presenting symptomology. Obesity with depression is the Heya. But the Hetu is differing in both of them. One is obese because of depression. Another is depressed because of obesity. So in one person, you have to tackle the obesity to reduce the depression. In the other, you have to tackle the depression to reduce the obesity. Now, no medical diagnosis will look at this. As far as modern medicine goes, we would treat both of them with the same pills or the same therapeutic protocol 99 times out of 100. And this is why it is important to ask these questions. What is lying behind what is happening in front of you? This is where wisdom has to come. And you say, Dr. Ananda, how can we learn it? Practice. Practice, practice, practice. You cannot teach this. See, I can give you these examples, but when the person comes to you, you have to keep on inquiring, which are, there has to be an inquiry made. You have to keep on going into it, what is called prashna. Prashna is inquiring, questioning. What is the problem? And listen to what they say. Give people time because suddenly it will come up. This is why this is happening. One time we had a lady who had come and we were trying to get her to talk about what was happening, and the husband had come with her, and as in typical Indian households, the husband did all the talking about what the wife was having. The husband was talking all the time about what the wife was having. Finally, we asked him to go out. And then when we talked to her, the whole story came out and we realized what was her problem. Often we don't realize this. You have to give the person space to express themselves. Often when people come in and they don't want to talk to me, but they want to talk to Dr. Meena, I immediately know there are certain issues. Or they don't want to talk to her, they want to talk to me, I know there are certain issues. You automatically find this. Then you talk to them, you open up to them, they open up to you. And then you start to find what is that heya and hetu. It's a very important relationship. And again, integrates with modern medicine when needed. One thing that I always stress here is that yoga therapy is complementary, not alternative. In many modern situations, we try to project yoga as an alternative to modern medicine. This is dangerous in many, many ways. Complementary is actually the best place. In time, it can become integrative, which is what TCI, traditional, complementary, integrative medicine, is what the World Health Organization is recommending for the futuristic perspective is traditional, complementary, integrative. And yoga as a therapy fulfills all of that. It is traditional, it is complementary, and it can become part of an integrative healthcare setup. So it really fulfills it. Now, a few examples. If the person has diabetes, yoga is not replacing insulin, okay? But it improves metabolic regulation. It reduces stress and it prevents the complications. In fact, in studies that were done at ISCM, we have seen how it is renoprotective. It protects the kidneys in patients who have diabetes because long-standing diabetes leads to kidney failure. So if the yoga can prevent that by protecting the kidneys, that is great. If you can protect the liver, which is having a lot of hepatotoxins, that's going to help a lot. For example, somebody is going through a de-addiction program Your liver is going to be really, really under stress. Can the yoga sustain health at the liver level? If you're going through cardiac rehabilitation, you can reduce the stress through yoga. The reactivity can be reduced, and it supports lifestyle modification like Dean Ornish has shown through his program. Yoga is basically, his whole program is yoga, but it's not called yoga. That's the only difference there. And one of the key tools is self-regulation. This is often something that many yoga therapists don't know about. Because if you ask them, how does yoga work? They'll start talking about all blood pressure coming down, blood sugar coming down, the muscles becoming stronger, the joints becoming more flexible. It's not about that. It's about self-regulation. Yoga empowers the individual to self-regulate better. And self-regulation comes into every part of your life. I'll give you an example. In the morning, your alarm rings. You have a choice either to get up or snooze button. Self-regulation. When you have a bath in the morning, you have a choice, hot water, cold water. We know cold water is good for immune system. Self-regulation. It may not be nice. It may not be comfortable, but it helps you. So self-regulate. It's the choices. Your breathing is very erratic because of stress. You can slow down your breathing, self-regulation. You are jogging and you feel like stopping because the lactic acid is building up in your muscles. Your calf muscles are starting to feel like they're going to fall off. There you can self-regulate and say, if I just continue, within a few more moments, you'll have a second win and that will be washed out. Nilachal used to do a lot of jogging. There's a point where you feel like stopping, but at that point, if you can just push through, it washes out. Because it switches from aerobic to anaerobic respiration. Someone irritates you. You can either punch them in the nose or smile at them. That's also self-regulation. Often in the traffic in Pondicherry, when people come and pull out in front, you feel like getting out of the car and punching them, and just you look at them and laugh because it's just such a hilarious joke that such people have a driving license. Or maybe they don't have a license, but they have a vehicle they can drive. See, every time you start to regulate physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, and spiritually, this is where you are turning your CCTV on yourself. And that is where Swadhyaya, self-reflection, is so important because it enhances self-regulation. Self-awareness, self-reflection, self-regulation, self-actualization, self-realization. All of this. No wonder the Bhagavad Gita says, Uddhave Atma Atmanam. And so you find this common phrase. Yoga is the journey of the self to the self through the self. By the self, of the self, for the self. Rephrasing the definition of democracy. By the people, of the people, for the people. Replace it by the self and you have another definition of yoga. See, medicine is often looking at acute or structural conditions. In yoga, you are actually looking at what can you do about it. And this is why I believe the definition of yoga therapy must have the word empowering the individual. And IAYT, they changed the definition, they took that out, and I was very hurt by it. Because I feel this is one of the key elements of Yoga Chikitsa is you are giving power to that individual to change from disease to health. You're not doing it for them. And when you bring modern medicine and yoga together, an effective pathway to healing. Again, I would like to stress on the fact that the therapist is the therapy. You know, it's not just about what asanas you give. Who are you as a person? And this is something, again, can you really teach it? I don't know. You can model it. You can model it. As a teacher, you can model it, but it's up to the student to learn from it. Because it's this is why this whole idea of evidence-based approach and what do they call it? Standardized yoga protocols. All this is a big joke because you need as a therapist to be involved. You cannot separate the therapist from the therapy when it comes to yoga therapy. And this is something we are trying in our modern research, and I think we are doing a disservice. The heart of this approach is compassion and presence. Can you be there for the person? That is more important than what you do for them. Just being there is important. The healing is not a mechanical outcome. It is relational. Your therapist's love, encouragement, and wisdom are part of the therapy. And it is not just a pathway to wellness, but self-realization, the bigger goal of yoga. And this is why Yoga Chikitsa is not only to treat disease, but to guide the care seeker towards self-awareness, resilience, and inner harmony. This is very important in the bigger picture. Don't get stuck with setting right a joint problem. It is good if you can increase the range of joint movement, it is good. I'm not saying it is bad, but don't stop there. If you can reduce the blood sugar, it is good. If you can reduce the blood pressure, it is good. Nothing wrong about it. But don't stop there, because if you stop there, you are limiting yoga. And I think this is something we have to be very careful about. And that is why the goal is yoga is for yoga. What do we want to do? We want to restore wholesomeness, resilience, and joy in life. Restore harmony of body, mind, spirit. If there is an illness, you want to prevent the recurrence. Heyam dukkham anagatam. You want to transform the personality. I must tell you that Amma often said, yoga for personality development is very popular. In fact, I have to give a talk next week on that. And they don't know what I'm going to talk about, because I'm not going to talk about personality development, because Amma said it's not personality development, it is impersonality development. Because persona is a mask. You don't want to add layers to the mask. You want to discard the mask so that you are the best version of yourself. No mask is actually the goal of all of this. And this is why, in corporate culture, they say, oh, bring yoga into it. Our, people will be more efficiently, they will work. That's not the goal of yoga, to make your people work more efficiently and make more money for the corporation. That's not the goal, but that's what they want. All they want is the better balance sheet. You have to support the conscious evolution, and ultimately moksha, kaivalya, mukti, nirvana. That's the goal. So I would like to hear in the next 2 slides, give you a few thoughts, which are things that I recently put together. And I must say I've taken assistance from Ananda Intelligence Chat GPT, developed by Sumit Upveti. He has developed a Chat GPT version, it's called Ananda Intelligence. And he has uploaded all my books, and we are in the process of uploading things to try and see if we can get deeper. It's interesting. It's a work in progress, and I'm trying to refine it by using it more often. I have tried to look at what is traditional yoga therapy and modern yoga therapy. So Tradition is rooted in Yoga Darshana, the teachings of Maharishi Patanjali. When we talk of modern, it is integrated into modern healthcare as a complementary therapy. I'm being positive here, okay, not negative. The aim to remove root cause of disease, the adi that is behind the vyadi. Whereas in modern yoga therapy, we want to manage and treat specific clinical conditions. The Panchakosha model, body, energy, mind, intellect, spirit, is used in tradition. In modern yoga therapy, we often use the biomedical model, physiology, psychology, clinical evidence. In tradition, we use asana, pranayama, mudra, bandha, kriya, plus the yama, niyama. Don't forget that also as a mode of therapy. Whereas here we want to use yoga practices that have been shown to be effective through scientific studies. Again, empirical evidence, evidence-based approach. In traditional yoga therapy, the healing, a union, balance, and inner transformation. Whereas in modern yoga therapy, we would like to look at evidence-based outcomes, measurable benefit, how many patients came to ISCM, how many benefited, what was the degree of benefit is what a modern context would look at. The Guru Shishya Parampara, teacher-disciple transmission, is part of tradition. Whereas in modern yoga therapy, we want research protocols, randomized controlled trials, and medical guidelines. You can see that I'm not trying to be negative in this. I'm just trying to say that the perspectives are different, whether I am practicing Yoga Chikitsa in a traditional framework or whether I'm in a modern medical institution where the modern approach is needed. You need to show the outcomes. You need to have the protocols, but don't forget the bigger picture in that. And as I said, Yogopathy and Yoga Chikitsa. Again, Ananda Intelligence Chat GPT has given this very beautiful summary. So the symptomatic use of yoga techniques as a therapy, similar to medical pathy systems, allopathy, homeopathy, whereas in Chikitsa, a holistic healing process, restoring balance and harmony at physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level. This is how it would be defined. What is the approach in Yogapathy? Disease-oriented, more pathogenic, focuses on removing symptoms. Yoga Chikitsa is more person-oriented, focuses on the whole being, not just the disease. The scope of Yogapathy limited to addressing specific disorders or complaints, whereas here it is expansive, addressing root causes, promoting overall well-being and spiritual growth. Techniques, well, asana, pranayama, etc. for a prescriptive, like this is the technique for this disease, whereas here it would be an integrated approach tailored to the individual needs. The philosophical basis, Yogapathy looks at yoga as a curative tool comparable to modern therapeutic modalities. But Yoga Chikitsa is looking at healing occurring by aligning with our own inner nature, finding that swastha, where you are established in the self. What is the duration of benefit for Yogapathy? Temporary relief of symptoms. Again, it may not prevent relapse, but here you want long-term transformation, resilience, and self-healing. Role of therapist in yoga therapy. You are prescribing techniques like a doctor prescribing medicine. Here you are a guide and facilitator. And remember, the patient, the client, the care seeker takes responsibility for self-healing. Patient involvement, well, passive, dependent on therapist's prescription. Here there is active participation, self-awareness, and personal discipline. The ultimate goal, what is the ultimate goal? Well, here symptom management, here total health. Adi Vyadi Parihara. Parihara means to, give an antidote to it. And self-realization. What is the relationship with modern medicine? Well, Yogapathy mimics the medical model. It may reduce yoga to an alternative drug. Here it complements modern medicine, but of course, I am biased here, transcends it, restoring the original vision of yoga as chikitsa, a therapy through wholesomeness. This is actually a very good summary. To understand these two, please understand I am not against yogopathy. It is effective, it is useful in certain situations, but let us not restrict yoga chikitsa to yogopathy. closing with that for today. We'll come to some questions in a moment. But tomorrow we have a beautiful session by Dr. Meena, which is on day 2, Women's Health and Yoga Chikitsa, Empowerment through the Gitananda approach. So just letting you know that that exists there tomorrow so that you don't miss it. And yes, let's look at some questions or any comments that are there.
Thank you, Dr. Ananda Balayogi Bhavanani ji, for sharing this prana-filled wisdom with such care and making us aware of the insightful 360 by 360 degree drishtikona, our perspective on the foundations of Yoga Chikitsa in Rishiculture Ashtanga Yoga. So we now welcome any questions and reflections. To start with, we do have a question from Ramesh Kumar ji. Pranam sir, I am Dr. Ramesh Kumar, working in a hospital as yoga teacher in different OPDs. Referred patients come to me for very short time, 5 to 10 minutes, even one time in life. My question is, how do I apply all concepts of yogapathy? Please guide me.
Yeah. See, actually here there are two perspectives to understand. If somebody comes to you for 5 minutes, you have to start with those 5 minutes. That is what you have. So what can you give them in that 5 minutes to make sure they come back for another 5 or 10 minutes the next time? So this is where, you have to find, that hook to get the fish, okay? Using a very himsa laden metaphor there. Sorry about that. But you have to give them a feel of yoga in that short time. So I think one of the best ways to start in this type of limited circumstances is help them breathe slow and deep. I think if you give the person an experience of 5 minutes of breathing slow and deep, they are going to come back to you wanting more. I think this is the best way to go about it. And when they come back, tell them we need a bit more time. Find a time where they can come for 15, 20 minutes with you. Start to then go deeper into the practice. But I think the best way to really get people to experience yoga is give them an experience of slow, deep, mindful breathing. This is one. Another thing that can actually help people experience yoga is a short shavasana based relaxation. And if you can get the blood pressure measured before and after that short shavasana and blood pressure measured before and after the slow deep breathing, they will see the heart rate go down. They will see the blood pressure go down, and immediately they will be hooked on to yoga and yoga therapy and come back to you. So this is a very practical answer to what you have asked.
Thank you, sir. We have another question from Ramanujanji. So nowadays people are impatient. They themselves tell us what they want, not open to spirituality. How to how 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 to address this in such cases?
Well, if as a doctor, if somebody comes to me and says, I Googled my symptoms and this is the drug I want to take, I would say, let Google prescribe it for you. Thank you so much. Okay. As a doctor, I do not have to give them a drug Google has prescribed for them. There's something called medical ethics, and I do not have to listen to them decide what drug they want to take based on Google. This is the first thing we have to be very careful. Someone coming and saying, I heard that Sarvangasana is good for thyroid, so teach me Sarvangasana. You are not obligated to teach them Sarvangasana. You don't have to do that. What you need to do is explain to them that yoga therapy is not a quick fix. There is an approach to be taken in it, and open them up to that approach. If they are willing to participate in that approach, you take responsibility for them. If not, you do not have to save the whole world. That is not your job. So I'm very clear here that somebody who is not willing to come into that process, you do not have to save them. You can make it very clear. And please do not get stuck in this, where we get stuck into the consumer mentality. where the consumer is king. So because they are coming to you and you want to make money from them, whatever they want, you're going to teach them. But don't make yoga and yoga chikitsa a transactional dealing that way. It is an educative dealing. You should educate them about what is yoga, what is yoga chikitsa, and slowly take them on it. But again, doesn't have to be done in a violent way, but you do not have to put up with nonsense.
Thank you, sir. And I request Trinath ji to please unmute for his question.
I just want to share my experience relating to the self-control. So once in way back in 2006, I went to the Ayurveda doctor. Then Ayurveda doctor suggested me, after doing my pulse diagnostic, he suggested me I should not eat sweets and I should stop eating the curd also. And I really because I told him I can forget the remaining food, but I cannot stop eating the curd and the sweets. Then fortunately, I got the opportunity of doing the 10 days yoga, 15 days yoga. After doing that yoga process, then the craving of the sweets and the curd came down a lot. So self-regulation automatically comes when we are doing the yoga. I just want to share my experience.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Trinath ji, for sharing that. I remember in Jipma many decades ago, there was a doctor who started a research program for some of the patients for something. And after a period of the study, many of the participants came back to say that they had been smoking or they had certain habits. And they said after doing these practices, we didn't feel like doing it. So he never told them, don't smoke. He never told them, do it. But doing the practices and going through the process gave them a better perspective of health and how they could play a role in it. And they brought about a change. Now, the only issue for that to happen is one has to be very sensitive. And these days, human beings are not as sensitive as we should be. That is one of the big issues today. I think we have a question from Liz.
Yes, sir. Liz has asked, to what degree is someone who is very active but with no awareness of the process or journey of yoga enhancing their experience of prana through their activity? Is it necessary to have an awareness of yoga and prana in order to enhance the experience of prana?
I will use a metaphor to give an answer here. Okay, Liz. Say somebody is going from their home into the middle of the city. So two people are in the same vehicle. One person is looking at the people around them, looking at the scenery, experiencing the sights, the smells, talking to people, interacting. Another person has those earpods or AirPods on and is just into themselves and has not looked at anybody, has not talked to anybody, has not seen where they have gone. Now, both of them have started in the same point, ended at the same point. Is the experience the same for both of them? The answer is no. Because the one person has not taken this opportunity of the journey to grow in the experience, whereas the other has taken that. So when you have awareness and when you are mindful of the process, the expansion of prana is very, very beautifully happening. But if you are just doing activities and even breathing exercises without that mindfulness, without that relationship, you have just missed the whole experience. And this is why it is not how many years we live on this planet, but how we live on this planet that matters in the end. And this is where interaction with others, interaction with the self is so vital. I hope that will answer that question. Same thing with food. Two people can have the same meal. For one, it could have been a pranic experience. For other, they just fill the stomach. The mindful component. And this is why yoga without mindfulness is not yoga. What are the terms and conditions we should put while giving therapy? Well, this is a big question. But what I would say is that it's not about terms and conditions. It is about us sharing yoga as a holistic way of life and not a piecemeal approach. I think that is the most important condition. And we must let our care seekers know that we will not do it for them. We can help them, we can support them, but they have to do it for themselves. You can take them to the water, they have to drink. You can give them the meal, they have to eat. You can put them to bed, they have to sleep. You give them a book, they have to read, they have to think, and they have to do. So this, I think, self-responsibility is an important terms and conditions asterisk at the bottom that you should always have. Yoga is considered a fitness or workout or equanimous to asana for sweat. Misconceptions are always going to be there. I think what we have to do is keep on making our line longer and stronger by letting people know that it is a misconception. As my dear younger sister Indu often says, yoga is not a workout, it's a work in. And I think that is a very important one. It's not how much you sweat, but how much you grow. And that is what yoga is about. And not sweating, but growing and glowing. And so I think, see, you cannot go and put out other people's blurbs. What you do is make sure yours is stronger. Remember, when the darkness is there, the light just has to come. The light doesn't have to take a gun and shoot the darkness. The light doesn't have to take a knife and kill the darkness. The light just has to shine bright. So I think if we keep on giving our message loud and clear, bright and light, I think slowly people will understand it. Where can we pursue Yoga Chikitsa course? Well, yeah, Nilachal and I are offering one right after this. So that is going to be coming up. These are the questions I saw. Did I miss something, Dheeya?
No, sir, we are good.
I think Sangeeta had a hand up.
Yeah, sorry.
Namaskar, namaskar, Guruji, namaste, Nilachalji, and everyone. Thank you so much for this wonderful session. What a gift. I would like to ask you, sir, but you already touched on it right now, but again, when we bring our experience of yoga to people who are new or even in other cultures, there's this process of translation that has to occur because they may not understand or they may not want to do something they're unfamiliar with. And so depending on the context, let's say if I want to support my dad to breathe better, if I speak to him about pranayamas and things like this, it's just gonna get lost. So your experience is multifaceted because you live yoga and you live it with kids at Yoganjali Natyalayam and in the hospital, and then at ASM in your own family with Amaji. It's so many different ways. So to go back to the flexibility of the personality and to seeing things from different perspectives, what is, in your opinion, the hardest challenge that humans find in being flexible with their personality? Thank you, sir.
I think let me start with the easiest. The easiest thing is to just be you. Okay, if you are you, you don't have to waste much energy. So I am lazy, and so I like being myself. Because if I have to be somebody else, I have to expend too much of energy and it's too tiring and exhausting. So when you are yourself, you are energy efficient. This is what we want. We want vehicles that are energy efficient, right? And so be energy efficient, be yourself. Now, what is the challenge people have? Well, I think the biggest challenge is that people don't know that there are other perspectives. And this is why the moment another perspective is shown to them, it becomes threatening. Because suddenly, oh my God, what I thought is wrong, I am wrong. And then, the threat, it just triggers the sympathetic stress response that then wants to destroy the other perspective so that you can go back to being safe. This is the biggest challenge we have. And we see this recently, some very sad events have happened. I'm not talking about justification, not justification. It is sad that we human beings are always trying to wish the other person to be dead so that the problem is solved. No problem is solved that way. So I think one of the very important aspects here is that maybe we have to do it gradually. We have to adopt culturally appropriate symbology, culturally appropriate methods, language. So the other day we had a very nice panel discussion on mental health and young people. So in that mental health and young people, when you want to talk about mental health and young people, you have to use lingo that they are familiar with. So just chill is how they understand it, right? You don't talk about, the whole relaxation response there. You have lost them. You have lost them there. You have to find what resonates with them. So I think the most important aspect I find as a educator is meet people where they are. Meet people where they are. Find out how you can communicate effectively, efficiently, and begin the conversation. This rigid dogmatism that I am going to tell you how to do will always be met with resistance. Dogmatism will always be met with resistance. I believe that communication, which is why communication skills are essential in therapy. I feel that even nowadays we are doing a bit of that in medical school, but earlier it was not there. As a medical doctor, I was never taught communication skills during my medical training. Nowadays, there's a bit of emphasis on the soft, they call them soft skills. So I would say meet people where they are. Again, be open in the way you share. Don't be aggressive. And again, remember that our perspective is not the only perspective. So maybe we are also not as correct as we thought we were. So when we meet others, to be open to the fact that maybe we are wrong and they are right. Okay, it's important to have that, because if you go from that place that I am right and you are wrong, already confrontation has started. So I think sharing in a mode of learning, let sharing be for learning. Let communication be for learning and sharing rather than a one-sided punch. I think we have to. This is the way. I always go back to my one of my musical role models, and he used to say that he said, Ananda, when you know Shankar Anand sir, he said, when you want to resonate as a performer with your audience. I once asked him, I said, sir, how is it, every concert he would sing would be a marvelous success, and he would connect with each and every person in the audience. Whether it is 10 people in the audience or 10,000 in the audience, he'd connect with everyone. So I once asked him, I said, sir, how do you do this? He said, Ananda, to be an effective performer, you need to know the pulse of your audience. He said, it is the pulse of the audience. You have to take a few moments to know the pulse. To know the pulse, you have to stop being where you are. You have to go and sit This is where empathy comes in. We talk about putting yourself in the other person's shoes and walking a couple of miles. You have to put yourself in the shoes of the person who's coming to you for therapy. You have to put yourself in the shoes of the student who is there, which is why my life philosophy is treat others as I wish to be treated. I treat others as I wish to be treated. The other day we had this in the department regarding something, and I said, I would like this, if I were to be that person and do that, this is how I would like to be treated. So it is important for me to treat the other person the way I want to be treated. I remember Joseph LePage many years ago. This was before COVID. He had invited me to Brazil to teach at Enchanted Mountain. He had actually sent me the letter. I had applied for the Brazilian visa, and then COVID struck. And at that time, Joseph told me, he sent me an email. He said, I would like to offer you first class airfare. And I'm like, that's so much of money being wasted unnecessarily. He said, see, when I go places, I would like to have that. And I believe that when I invite you, you should also have that because you deserve that. This is what you resonate. See, it is not about the first class airfare. It's not the money. It's the fact that you want to treat the other person as you wish to be treated. Have that type of relationship. If you were the student, if you were the patient coming to a therapist, how would you like your therapist to communicate with you? How would you like them to share with you? Can you share that way with the person who's coming to you? I think this putting yourself in the other person's place is a very important part of being an effective therapist and effective educator. Of course, an effective human being also maybe. Liz has a question there.
Yes.
Can we position ourselves who offers yoga chikitsa traditional? Then I, I, I would say yes. What I would say is that to say that, I am offering yoga chikitsa as a whole person approach, understanding the uniqueness of each individual and the requirements that can be provided by utilizing the multidimensional approach of yoga. I think this is how I would communicate it. Rather than saying, that person is doing yoga therapy, I'm doing yoga chikitsa. I would not do that. What I would say is that, there's that story that a person draws a line. How can you make that line shorter without touching it? Somebody has drawn a line. How can you make that line shorter without touching it? And the answer is draw a bigger line next to it. You draw a bigger line next to it, and the first line has become smaller on its own. You don't go and erase somebody else's line. You are not there to demean anybody. You are there to mean yourself. I think this is how I would approach it. But I think there's a need in the world of yoga therapy, yoga chikitsa today, to stand up and say that I am looking at a holistic perspective in tune with the traditional approach. I think it is definitely a good way to take it up. So yes, we have come to the perfect 1.5 hours now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for this wonderful guidance. And it is really difficult to make you talk for this shorter duration. And we thought like it would be good to have 2 hours, but definitely we have time. And the course is coming up with uh, uh, Yoga Chikitsa course, where we will be dealing more into that. And we will have a lot of lectures of Dr. Sir. So you all are welcome to that course. And coming back to the Secrets of Yoga Therapy journey, today is the first day, and we have just a glimpse. And as I mentioned in the beginning, that we have to recall it again and again, and then only we have something, we heard something new that we have not heard earlier. So this reminder is very much important, and thank you so much for that reminding. It's too much effort, I understand, but thank you for that effort, sir. We all need it, and thank you so much for whole these guidance. And tomorrow, this whole Secrets of Yoga Therapy journey will be continued till 19th. And tomorrow we will have with us our very dear Yoga Tilakam, Dr. Meena Ramanathan ma'am, who is the principal of School of Yoga Therapy, ISCM, and she will be guiding us to a very, very, very important topic, which is the need of the hour, where the pillar of the family, or if you say why in the context of Indian culture also, yatra naristu pujante ramante tatar devata. The women are the most important, indispensable part of the society, family, and their health is of very utmost importance. So she will be guiding us, giving understanding how in the Gitananda yoga tradition it is being dealt with, and she will be leading in this journey. So you are all welcome again for tomorrow's session, again in the same time, and keep keeping in touch, and we'll see you again tomorrow. We'll close with the Loka Samasta, requesting all to join together. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Thank you all again for joining today's session. See you tomorrow. Till then, namaste, pranam.
Nilachal,
Yes, sir.
I have just put in the chat box the academia link, which is the whole Yoga Chikitsa application of yoga as a therapy book, ebook. So you can share that link, and it's the whole book for free for anybody who wants to download and use it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Amma's birthday gift.
Sure, sir.